Hello everyone, welcome back to your weekly astrological forecast. This one is, we're going from November 18th through the 24th. And we start off with Mercury opposing Jupiter, but then Pluto's ingress into Aquarius for 20 years begins on the 19th. So that'll be Monday. No, Tuesday. And we have the moon going through Cancer and into Leo. When it's in Leo, it's going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius, right? And so there's that. We still have Mars in Leo, so that's kind of easing off, but I don't know. It definitely stirred up something, didn't it? To say the least. So then the moon will go into Virgo for the rest of the week. But while in there somewhere, I can't remember which day exactly. Oh, it's the 21st. We have the sun moving into Sagittarius. So happy birthday to all my Sagittarian friends out there. Okay, hold on. Let me bring it over to my table. All right. So before I get into this week's, because I'm doing this reading on November 14th, the day before the super full moon, which is conjunct Uranus, the planet of shocks, shocks and change. It's our change agent. I can't say 100% for sure, man, what is going down between now and the release of the full moon. The only thing I can say is it'll be surprising. It will have to do with our security. It could have to do with enlightenment, like now we know what happened. I have all kinds of questions about, we know some things that did happen, and I have questions about what will happen in the future. But anyway, with the sun in Scorpio opposing the moon, whether or not you even looked at it as being a full moon, the deal is we have a contradiction here. We have confrontation here. Scorpio is, it can be the sign where, something came through that was sucking some energy. Now, I love Scorpio. Scorpios are like my favorite people. All the signs are, actually. I have a little challenging bias with Aquarius, only because I was married to one. So I always have to let go of all that before. So anyway, that was so many years ago. I've been divorced more years than I was married, so I have to let go of that. But anyway, with the Scorpio energy, in the best sense, we get to the bottom of the truth. It's going deep, deep, deep. You think of anybody that's into investigative journalism, or anybody that works for the NSA or the CIA, or any of the Five Eyes or the 14 Eyes, actually, all over the world. There is. That all of those departments, I would think, are somehow ruled by Scorpio and Pluto. We're talking, like that digging in and getting deep, trying to get through all the details, all the subterfuge. The problem is we have, spies, right? We do have counterintelligence, but we have spies in the camp. We have, those things come out all the time. So they can suck up a lot of energy, and they can destroy opportunities. So here's one fact. An email, a quote was given by Nikolai Patrushev. And he said, the election campaign is over. To achieve success in the election, Donald Trump relied on certain forces. Wonder which forces those may be. To which he has corresponding obligations. As a responsible person, he will be obliged to fulfill them. So this is coming from a Russian presidential aide. Now, what happens if he doesn't oblige? Can they come and get him and try to, what is that word, defenestrate him or whatever, out the window, off the balcony, whatever. We don't know. That's the thing. There are so many things I do not know. But until this, till we get out of the, the moon's going to, after it crosses over Uranus, it won't be full. Well, then it'll move into Gemini. And then a lot of information will be gathered. And then when I get to Monday's reading, which I'll do in a minute, the moon will be in Cancer. So we're going to be feeling much, a lot more differently. We're going to be feeling more, wanting security, right? And being very, very sensitive. So just to go over some of the facts here. So for astrology, the nodal axis goes backwards. Okay, they're moving backwards. The other planets are, or I should say this way, the other planets are moving forward in a counterclockwise position, in relationship to the charts. But so we always have to look at the degrees, right? So if the nodes move backwards, that means that they start off in a new sign when they get to that 29 degrees of that, new sign, which will be Virgo and Pisces. We'll be moving into that in January 11th. But for now, we're finishing up into, this phase that we've been in since July 17th, 2023. That's when we had the nodal shift between Aries and Libra. So let's go over that again really quickly. Aries, the north node of which we are heading, is ruled by Mars. Mars rules war. Libra, the south node, which is the past, which relates to the past. And I just have never ever been about, you go totally towards the north node because that's where we're all headed. Well, no, it's always about balancing out the polarities of all the signs. And what do we have down here at the polarity of Pluto in Capricorn, which is soon to, on the 19th, you'll see, it will be in Aquarius. That's this direct opposition that's been going on to Mars. Mars is energy. Mars in Leo can be open-hearted, loving courage and creative self-expression. On the dark side, it could be with the last gasps of Pluto in Capricorn, it can be people trying to control other people's creative self-expression, and even looking to the future to make laws to prohibit personal self-expression, laws that violate personal dignity, right? Leo on the dark side is massive, malignant narcissism. Okay? Pluto loves that kind of, right? So when Pluto moves into Aquarius, I'm not going to be expecting, there will be some freedom somehow. For us, we're free because we already know what's going on. But other people are slow and they have to go through things, and they look to, there are people on the planet that want somebody to just decide, make a decision for them as to, what's the future going to be, and they don't really want change, right? That's the downside of Taurus energy. They want things to just stay the same, but that's not life. Life is change, and we're here to exercise our free will and creatively express ourselves. So, this Pluto and Leo over here is pretty pissed off at seeing what could be the future. Now, so what I want to focus on in this chart, so we've already, covered so much about the full moon in the last chart, but with this nodal axis here going on, with Mars right here, in the bucket point, the hinge point, the handle point of the aspect of the architect to the nodes, I'm just thinking in my head, I mean, you guys have to let me know what you think, but isn't it an act of war when foreign adversaries put out into our voting day social media over 60 bomb threats that were in areas that were held democratically, heavily held democratic, counties, I guess is the best way to say that. And then imagine you're in line. Imagine you're one of those souls standing in line ready to vote. There's a bomb threat. They close the doors for hours. Are you going to stand in line for hours, or are you going to go home? And then if you go home, do you not make it back? Because, we don't, in America yet, we really need to be like Australia and I think maybe even New Zealand. I'm not sure. You guys have to let me know. We don't have mandatory voting, and we don't make it easy. We don't have days off from work, mandatory days off from work to vote. That's the thing. So imagine you have to pick up your kids and you can't and feed them and all of that, all these things, and then by the time it's time that you could get back to the polling place, you're exhausted. I'm thinking some people didn't make it back. So there's that. That happened. Saturn has gone direct. Saturn rules the government. Uranus rules the internet. Mercury rules the vote. Sag rules politics. Mercury opposing Jupiter means some information, Gemini, blown up. Jupiter. It's right here. Neptune and Saturn in Pisces here relates to social media delusions and people believing the foreign videos that have been lying about Kamala and encouraging rebellions against her because she's part of the Biden admin. And there you go. Then we have these other people who, we have the crisis and the genocide that's gone on in Gaza. And if Trump gets inaugurated, we can be sure that the Palestinians will not be recognized in Israel. They're already saying that. So those people that voted against Kamala, just for spite, voted for a third-party candidate, you helped create this. I would hope that in the future you might think differently and understand the way, at least at this point, American elections work. If you vote for a third-party candidate, you take away a vote from the one that could save you. If you vote against her just for spite, you really just hurt yourself and the rest of us. So there's that, which is a real problem, especially because the North Node is headed towards Pisces, right, and Neptune. Either dissolving the past could be part of it. And or some people will just kind of resign. Some people will be enchanted with whatever, and that. But come on, man. Tariffs, the whole tariff thing. They're even Trump voters are understanding. Oh yeah, the tariffs go down on us. But if you're a Leon or Elon Musk fan, now he's got his. If he gets in. So here's how it could go, and I can't say. I believe what has happened, that we had Russian interference. NBC reported bomb threats in swing states that overwhelmingly targeted Democratic-leaning counties. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, those little doors to the tabulator machines, they weren't locked. There's a problem there. There were ballot scanning problems in New York and Pennsylvania. All the votes aren't even in yet, but because of little Leon, Muskrat, because of him And there's an app that he had somebody create for him. Of course, he takes credit for it, but he said this on this Joe Rogan podcast. He admitted it, that he would know the election results 4 hours before everyone else. And then what happens? AP News and all these other, they put out, Trump won, blah, 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 blah. Well, what if people are standing in line to still vote because in those places where the bomb threats occurred, they extended the voting hours. And so what if they're standing in line and they get this news because of some app that was created under Elon Musk, and you see, I can do it just like Trump. Oh, God. Anyway, if you're standing in line and you got news like that, and especially from a reputable source like Associated Press, wouldn't you just go, oh man, okay, I'm going home, especially if you're at the end of the line? That is the abuse. And Pluto's moving into Aquarius. That's the abuse of being connected online with lightning fast information. And we've got the double trine going down here to the moon and Uranus, the mood of the people being shocked. And who wins up here with the last degree, that last 5 minutes? I don't know, it's 5 minutes when it comes to Pluto. Well, yeah, it is. It just, whatever. In Capricorn, wanting control and power and dominion over. Right? So that happened. And then here we have Mars, like I was saying before, down here at this aspect of the architect. This is still going on. And the degree is tightening up because Mars goes this way. The node will come this way towards Mars. So we have this going on this coming up week, or upcoming week, I should say. So there's that. With the square up to Venus, women, I don't know, women are bearing the brunt, I guess, with Venus and Capricorn there. Relationships destroyed from the past. You get whiff of, so this is one little tiny weird, I can't even find a better word, but just weird gift is that when the news came out that Trump was the elect, I'm not going to use the word president with him. So the candidate, whatever, of many choices, when that news comes out, a lot of people go, oh yeah, we won. And then you find out who they really voted for, even though they never would say who they were going to vote for before. And these are friends and family members. And now you know. Because there are so many people out there that want to belong so bad, and this is the Chiron in Aries wound. They want to belong so bad. So this is some ethnic groups that they really, really want to be part of the club, right? And they haven't chosen to think for themselves and do their own research. They just glom on to what their friends and everybody else is doing, or they glom on to the people who seem to be wealthy. And they want that, and they want to be like that. There's that square. And now you know who they are, and now you can make comparison values. To, is this the kind of friend that I want? Somebody that will, think of Nazi Germany. It would have never happened had not everybody joined against, the Jews. And then look at Hitler. Just look at pictures of Hitler. If that man is not a Jewish face, I don't know what is. Come on. In this Aryan race, his hair wasn't blonde. He had a snosh bigger than anybody I've ever seen. And coked up and amphetamine up all over and given to his troops. It was a shitstorm of drugs and abuse that lasted for years and years and years because people were apathetic. Apathy is a form of evil. Apathy is a form of separation from your spirit that will fight for love. So These people are being exposed. And that's the prime thing I think that is happening in the full moon. Okay. You can see this other aspect of the architect here. Coming from the sun to Ceres. Ceres can bring through grief and separation, especially for connections to women, food, farming, all of that. Family, what will we nurture? What will we protect? There's opportunity here to wake up with this aspect of the architect. But sometimes awakening comes through pain when you're on your knees trying to figure out what happened. And oh my God, what have I done? It may not happen for years with some souls and maybe not for lifetimes with others. So here we are with Monday, November 18th, 5 a.m. Pacific, 8 a.m. Eastern. Adjust accordingly in your time zone. And you can see the aspect of the architect is still here. It's in a tighter orb from the nodes. Again, the hinge point is on Mars. Which direction will we go? Will we stay in our love and do our best to work through this opposition, this contradiction, this confrontation with people that we love and care for who've maybe made a mistake? Can you see this big X marks the spot right here? Uranus opposing the Sun and Pluto opposing Mars. Again, Uranus in Taurus has to do with safety and security, waking up, reinventing yourself, waking up to your ability to preserve yourself and to have, figure out basically what your beliefs are. Mercury's in Sag to support that. Jupiter's in Gemini to think about that. Some people don't even really think about that. Like I said, the herd mentality that will just glom onto what everyone else is doing because they want to be popular. And there you have it. X marks the spot. Which way do you go? Which way do you go? The positive, the light side of Leo is enlarging your heart, opening your heart, creating more, expressing yourself in ways that can create more opportunity for others and yourself, thinking of bigger, more than yourself. Leo can have to do with our identity. It's connected to our self-confidence and our courage. But also on the dark side, narcissism. Not being recognized is one of the key wounds with Leo. And being ridiculed. You're a loser. You're on the losing side. No, that kind of thing. Right? So you never want to do that to anybody. And I don't even ever like hearing, I told you so. Or let me tell you something, right? I hear words like that and my sick brain automatically goes to Jim Carrey with the Dysfunctional Family Home Show and the pork and beans, because my brain just wants to go, pork and beans. So, and that button heads with the nth degree, the most intense amount of Capricorn energy, which can be super wonderful when it comes to your duty and your self-responsibility, but it can also be control. It can also be the status quo. And the downside with Capricorn is they don't like being disrespected. They don't like being overlooked either. But there's narcissism rampant with this polarity, Leo and Capricorn. And then all it takes is, a weak Gemini sun like Trump with Uranus next to it and his north node, it's just, talk about squirrels, right? Everybody that's worked with him says he has just an attention disorder. Well, part and parcel of narcissism is impulse control disorder. Jupiter's up on his midheaven, his sun, north node, and Uranus. I have to go to his chart for a second while I'm looking at this one in my mind. The moon, Uranus plus Algol. Now remember, okay, so with Trump, we all have Algol at 26 degrees, 25 minutes of Taurus. So wherever that lies in your chart, that fixed star, Algol, that just sits there and blinks, sometimes blinks stronger, sometimes doesn't, sometimes dims, but it's been blinking strongly. And then we have transits that come to the fixed star. So what came to the fixed star, Algol, with Trump's first assassination attempt was Uranus. Now it's the moon in Uranus, right? And then the trine up to all this controlling energy up here, I mean, that's a real problem. That's an issue. And, we don't want anything like that happening. What we want is justice. So, anyway. And this aspect of the architect over here, I mean, look at this. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. If we had another sextile here, we'd have a mystical rectangle, I think it's called. But anyway, this one here I want to focus on now. So the sun shining a light at the last decan of the sign of Scorpio means that something is really going out there in a strong way, shining a spotlight on something that came up from the past as to what happened and who controlled Pluto, what happened. And then with the sun being at the hinge point, the light just keeps shining really strongly. And then down here to Mars, connecting with Mars, that could propel some people into action. So we really need to be in a peaceful place in our hearts and put that out. We can go through all of our feelings. I am never, ever going to tell somebody not to feel, because I know that that's how we heal. So we have to go through our rages. We have to go through our disgustedness. We have to go through our fear. We have to go through all of the feelings that come up. They're human, it's part of being human, and it's what makes us beautiful. We just don't want to put that on to someone else. We don't want to blame others. We want to pray for them, especially if they, mistakenly voted for him and now they're learning. Can you imagine how awful you would feel, right? So the deal is to be peaceful inside and be in your love and then put that out, because that's really what heals and what dispels negativity. So yeah, okay, so now down here, notice that the moon is in a T-square. So to the south node, to the north node, the moon is also squaring Neptune in Pisces. So Monday, the 18th, is a really good day for trusting your spidey senses, for trusting your feelings, for allowing yourself to be subjective, for allowing yourself to go inside and search yourself and think about how can you be more secure in the future, but also, trust your intuition. We all have psychic abilities. We all are intuitive. We all have the real need for emotional security and for protecting ourselves. But in Cancer, we are going to be going into the past, because that's what Cancer's all about. It's about our roots. It's about whatever happened in the past. So over the next 2.5 days, we are going to be thinking a lot about what really happened, right? And I mean, you can focus on what's going on now too. That's the other thing. We are we can do it all. We can focus on one thing and get some information, and we can focus on another, get some information. And this would, with Jupiter and Gemini, this would honor what it's all about. And especially opposing Mercury, and this is exact, right? And we are in the Mercury retrograde storm. We're already in it. So it's all about going back and checking out the facts. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So that's all about getting information and then analyzing the facts. Mercury now in Sag, like I said before, it's about our belief system, it's about freedom, it's about speaking up, it's about exploring things. And it also rules, politics, but also patriotic and religious dogma even. So there will be some adjustments. So with the sesquisquare here to Mars, these are detours. Who, it's like who and how many people actually believe that, I don't know, whatever your religious beliefs are. I'm not putting down anybody's religious beliefs, but there's the detour. There's a lot of energy going into the heart chakra and making us all question, what are our morals? Do I really need to get moral education from a book that some dude named Constantine, wrote and put out just to control the masses? Right? I mean, we do have the, we have other writings to look at if you wanted to do that I'm sure were much more closely held to Jesus. But some people are going to be, in a bit of a detour with this sesquisquadrate. It's a 135-degree aspect, and it does create detours and major disruptions. So it's not over. All the votes are not in yet. Even the House has not been called yet. And then even whatever goes down because, Matt Gaetz resigned, we will have special elections. And the governors will control that, or they'll get it set up, and then people will vote, and then that will be controlled. But, yeah. And Matt Gaetz, hit the report that the House has on him, it could still be leaked, right? And that report is all about his sexual abuse his sexual abuse actually charges with a minor, of which his friend, what's his name, Joel Greenberg, is sitting in prison over now. He didn't get away with it like Matt Gaetz did, because Matt Gaetz' daddy has lots of money. He could buy him out, and he did. And then Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence. What? I mean, that's a direct line to Putin, right? So if people are educating themselves, they'll start thinking about those things. And who is orchestrating this whole thing? Trump. And who has the strings on Trump? Putin. And other countries. MBS. Mohammed, Mr. Bonesaw, Mohammed bin Salman. Trump is building a Trump Tower in a place called Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So here we are back to the nodes. Relationships of the past, and then also connections to the past. Well, let's just call it that for now. Who had connections to the past? And then war over here in the future. Don't you think that it's an act of war to mess with a presidential election, a federal election, or any elections? I would think so, just because it wasn't an actual bomb or it wasn't an actual, invasion. It was invasion via the internet. So there's that. And then, I really don't know that Starlink has the capability. I could be just completely ignorant about that. But my understanding is that Starlink is just an internet service provider that works in some areas, or it could work in any area, because it comes from a satellite thrown up in space that can be directed wherever Elon wants it to go. But it goes much more quickly. But voting machines are not supposed to be hooked up to the internet in a federal election. Well, you could sit in prison for a long time if you were the person that was responsible for that. But Tina Peters is doing 9 years for selling the code that goes in the little disc that goes in the discs that go into the voting machines. She wrote code as to how to switch, with an if-when prompt. Like, if a vote comes for Kamala, it gets switched to Trump. So he gets all the votes, right? I mean, how else did we have this like super red, and they used to call it a red mirage, but then all of a sudden it's a red wave coming in way too fast because they got greedy. So there's that. Just something there to hold in mind, and that's not just me talking about what I think happened. Do your research, because that is what happened. The vote count came in way, way, way too fast. And our media over here, so the moon squaring Neptune, back to that, we're coming full circle here. The media took it and ran and put it out all over the place. Pisces is all over. That energy has no bound, no end. Neptune has no bound, no end. It can be source energy, but you better be working with the highest level of love and light. Otherwise, you're being diluted. So energy going out all over the place, and people blaming each other and won't take self-responsibility. But meanwhile, somebody wrote code that got sold. I mean, remember Sidney Powell? Remember the Kraken lady? This is why she flipped so quick when it came down to the fake elector scheme, is that she'd been talking to people who were, it was all about writing the code and rigging elections. Tina Peters is spending 9 years in prison because of her part. So it's not only possible, it has happened. It's already happened. And here we are just waking up to it. Waking up to the control, especially over women's bodies. And then you've got, the little jerk I was talking about last week, Nick Fuentes. Yeah. So there's that. Now, also, we've got the aspect of the architect here, but can you see in the background the grand water trine going on? It's fire here because it's moving out of it. But this trine here is within orb. But oh, wait, maybe I'm seeing something else. No, I'm seeing it wrong. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. So Neptune trining the sun, or the sun coming into orb of trining Neptune, that's happening. So Scorpio sun will bring in more deeper information that's more refined, that will help us to learn and not be diffused, so that the truth and the light will not be diffused. The other trine is coming, it's in that aspect of the architect. But the Mars, the sun, the sun is, we have two trines going on. We don't have a great, we don't have a big old trine, but we have the sun shining a whole lot of light as to what happened in the past, and now what will we do about it? So, okay, let's go ahead. Oh, wait, have I talked? No, I want to talk a little more about Mercury retrograde. So wherever this lands in your chart, we're in the storm, and so Mercury's going to go November 25th. So it'll be the Monday next, because this one just goes to the 24th. It'll start November 25th. But we're in the storm already, right? So just know that you're already feeling it. It's a time to go within and rethink and redo, re-edit, revamp. It's not the best time. I mean, if you have to sign a contract or you have to put something out there, I wouldn't start a business with Mercury retrograde because we're talking transactions. Mercury rules transactions. But if you have to for some reason and there's some deadline, just please make sure you read all the fine print, every single fine print. And if it's a major big contract or anything that is life-changing, life-altering for you, like buying a home, like getting a big loan, I would have an attorney look over everything, because more often than not, or actually every time, there'll be one paragraph that'll say, this is how it is, and then the next paragraph or another one, 6 pages over, will completely take that one away, right? That's what attorneys are for, and it would be well worth the money. So anyway, Mercury retrograde starts at 22 degrees of Sag, and it goes from November 25th to January 2nd, 2025, and it will retrograde all the way back to 6 degrees of Sag. So we will be covering that territory that we went over during the election. Okay? Ceres is going to go retrograde December 7th, and it'll be in Aquarius by the time that happens. The Saturn direct, it still has to get past 19 degrees to get out of that shadow. And Uranus will be retrograde until January 30th, 2025. Mars will go retrograde December 6th through February 23rd, 2025. So we are going to be revisiting quite a bit. Neptune, let's see, Neptune goes direct December 7th. And then, but it doesn't move into, let's see, I'm looking for my notes here. Oh goodness, I know I wrote it down somewhere. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I can't remember what, but I'm pretty sure it's 20, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but and we'll look at it later, but I'm pretty positive it's like January 20th or something of 2026, because Neptune moves really slow. I'm sure it's 2026 before Neptune will move into Aries. So, but meanwhile, what will happen before that is that the North Node will cross over Neptune. It will come up and meet Neptune and then cross over it. And then be in Pisces. But then Neptune will be going towards, they're moving in the other direction, but they're going to meet. So the masses, all of us, we're all headed in this direction of trying to bring through a brand new independent beginning so we can move forward based on the life we want to create, not under the thumb of a government, not under tyranny. And meanwhile, Neptune's going to bump up against, or the node will bump up against us, actually, what's going to happen. So we will all be questioning. Neptune brings in unity consciousness, but sometimes the hard way. And it can, some people will numb out, some people will drug out, some people will smoke out, drink out, whatever, the sensitivity that's coming in. So we have to be really strong and really firm and really committed to the truth. Because Neptune can distort, it can deceive, because we're longing for something. But if the thing that we're longing for isn't something you're worth, that is worth fighting for you, then you don't deserve it. If you're not willing to vote, if you're not willing to look for the truth, if you're not willing to assert yourself, then, we're going to have to try and help do it for you, and I will. But, sometimes I have my limits. I'm human. I can't I can't do everything for everyone anytime that no human can. So in Neptune, the trouble with Neptune is it creates a whole lot of gullibility. So gullibility in spirituality, gullibility in drugs, cults. I'm thinking Pisces, cults, victimization, blaming, won't take self-responsibility because they want somebody else to do it for them, and then they get to go into the hopeless, helpless place. It's disgusting to me, right? And I'm not into victim shaming at all. I'm into empowerment, but if you won't stand up for yourself and you want somebody else to do everything for you, I'm not on board with that. I don't get involved in that stuff at all. The bright side of this is empathing and understanding when you're about to be victimized, right? The dark side of this combo here is thinking spiritual light workers are supposed to work for free because it's your life purpose. You know what? I have to eat. I need shelter. Things like that. This Neptune and Pisces. The bright side is that Neptune is really connected to the arts. And like I said, unity consciousness. So we can get information from documentaries and movies that will be coming out. We can envision the future that we want and imprint onto the cosmos that, that God-given right that you have to create your own reality. But you have to be self-responsible for creating it yourself. And it really just, what we're living in is based on our beliefs. But we are here, like I always say, we're here on an equal opportunity planet. And Earth has darkness. We have the light and the dark. It's never either or on Earth, it's and. It's the same way in the spiritual realms. You travel through all different spiritual realms. I mean, I remember doing a lot of shamanic work years ago, and you always have to set your sights on where you want to land, but the journey to get there, whoa. Whoa. But it teaches you that there's a hierarchy. There's literally a hierarchy in the spiritual realm. So you don't want to just open yourself up to just spirit like that. You can never say things like that. You can. You certainly can, but you'll understand that, there are trickster spirits out there. They like to play with you. They love to get your attention. Gives them energy. So anyway, okay. The T-square here with the moon to the nodes is we will just simply, it's so easy to see here, we will be sensing in to relationships of the past, to connections of the past, and oh my God, what happened in the past, and then trying to move forward based on what information we get and what we believe, because bottom line, it's all about what we believe. Our whole relationship with the universe is based on what we believe. And you can always change your mind. And we do tend to really just understand what happened through experience. A lot of it is just, hindsight. Yeah. So let's see. Mercury, yeah, let me just go forward. But we have to keep in mind, or I'll keep in mind, that we are in that Mercury retrograde storm. So it really is a lot about what we think, what we learn about, and what we believe, because we're talking Sag. And because we're going to be in that, for a longer period, Mercury, the retrogradation of Mercury in Sag is setting it up so that, Mercury gets to spend more time in the sign of Sag for some really good reason. Gee, what might that be? So that we can explore ways to be more free, so that we can explore what we really believe in. It's in Sag, so it's kind of like putting Jupiter here with it. But we have Jupiter opposing it over here in Gemini, so we're, again, back to that polarity. Lies or truth? Now, lies can be told through a Sagittarian person who likes to speak up and likes to, I don't know, just likes to have some attention, I suppose. Any sign would probably want that. But, you know, if you're within that dark side of Sag, which is, you know, the patriotic and the religious dogma, then you'll just be in your opinion and you'll just be wasting the opportunity. And your self-expansion might be really self-indulgent, and it might be very opportunistic and overly opportunistic, because Jupiter tends to blow things up. So if you're getting information that serves you only and you're running with that, that won't bring you happiness. It's only unity with others, unity with yourself in the laws and the forces of love and light. That's the only thing that's ever going to make anyone happy. Controlling others, even getting large amounts of money or being born into a lot of money, that doesn't make a person happy. Happiness comes from within, and we have to work for that. So with Jupiter down here in Gemini, it's all about communicating, and it's very objectifying. But it does connect the dots. It can connect the dots. It's gathering information. That's what Mercury's all about too, because remember, Mercury rules Gemini. And we can bring in multiple types of opportunity if we are connecting into the truth and opening up to the truth. So we just have to let go and pray for the truth to come through, but then do our objective investigation work. Because remember, you know, the sun's still in Scorpio, and it'll be in Sag in a couple days. So there's that. In fact, the sun will move into, during this period of Mercury retrograde, the sun will move into Mercury. And that's a lot of fire. So, but the two, see the double trine happening from the moon and Mars into the sun. The moon is moving quickly into the sun. The sun is also moving quickly, but then we're going to have a fire trine going on here. Right now it's deep water and fire. Deep water here with the moon at 20 degrees today on Tuesday. And I set this for 12:40 p.m. because this is, of course, our Pluto Ingress first movement. Well, not the first movement into Aquarius. That happened on January 20th, and then we had some retrograde in there. But now, from this day forward, 12:40 p.m. Pacific time, adjust to your time zone. Pluto will remain in Aquarius. We'll have some retrogradation going on, but it'll still stay in the sign of Aquarius. It'll never go back in this lifetime to Capricorn, because, you know, we all know Pluto takes 243 to 248 years to get around the zodiac, and we don't live 240 years. Not yet. I don't know if I'd ever want to, actually, on planet Earth. And so these are once-in-a-lifetime transits that we get from Pluto. That's why, you know, Pluto is so important to look at in your natal chart. And I think I've spoken a lot about that, so I'll just move on. I've already talked so much about that in the past. But notice that there's the aspect of the architect today from the sun. So this is kind of setting up this burst of energy of Aquarius, coming from that deep water, fully blooming, research-oriented, deeply transformative, wanting to trust the universe, wanting to get out of crisis, wanting to find the secret so that we can regenerate this situation and fly like the phoenix out of the ashes. And the moon in 20 degrees of Cancer really supports that, because there's deep water here that's blooming out of all the feelings we've gone through the last day. And then Mars, if we're opening our hearts, this is very powerful. And then Pluto again over here, and see that double. So we've got two aspects of the architect again, because this one from Pluto to Uranus is still in effect. So the Enlightenment, Uranus rules Aquarius. I tend to go with the new, the modern rulers. When you discover a modern ruler, why would you stick with the old one? So I don't see, well, no, I just don't. I don't see Saturn ruling Aquarius as very effectively in my mind, because Saturn slows things down and it crystallizes. Aquarius, Uranus opens things up and moves. Now, the only trouble with Aquarius, so the bright side of Aquarius, let's go over that first, because you'll feel better. And I've been in some dark territory. I want you to have some experience of feeling better. So, intuition, focusing on the future, wanting freedom. This is Aquarius, Uranus ruling Aquarius. Okay, so the best side of the next 20 years. Okay, so this will go through, this transit of Pluto and Aquarius will stay through March 8th of 2043. And we can be more inventive. We can reinvent ourselves. We can be more objective. We can be more fair and equal. And most of all, this is all about the law of brother and sisterhood. It's humanity. One of the greatest spiritual laws we have is the law of brotherhood and sisterhood. We don't leave each other out. We don't want to put anyone down. Whatever you want for yourself, you should want for others. Otherwise, you're hypocritical. Otherwise, you're as bad as the dark side of Capricorn. Okay? So, thinking about others, thinking about how you can affect others in positive ways. That would be the positive side. Revolutionary reform, high levels of reason, high levels of intelligence. The good side of AI, where you can get answers to things quickly so that then you can start doing other research. But then again, there's a dark side of AI where people will try to write dissertations that they didn't write, basically. Lots and lots of plagiarism. Yeah. But most of all, independence and your own individuation. We have 20 years to individuate quickly, away from the status quo, away from patriotic and religious evangelicalism, and learn how to, or be able to live your own life the way you want to live it. Innovation can come through. Major sincerity when it comes through, for indigenous peoples and wanting to help them. I mean, my God, we owe them. Solidarity to stand up. So, the dark side of Uranus and Aquarius. Pluto being the power agent. Some people will want to be in power through bigotry, through just their opinions, through wanting to just sit in the paradox and not make a decision that's kind and clear. People holding on to, science is great, right? I think astrology is a science. But what if you are a scientist and you don't believe in astrology and you want to hold on to that firm opinion and you haven't really evolved enough in your own soul to know that there's something so much bigger out there than your pea brain could ever handle until you want to pop that pea. Stuff like that. Stuff like people thinking they know better how to rule the masses. And then and that's one of the problems with Neptune and Pisces, but most of all, the dark side of Uranus, it can be mobs. It can be communities of gangs and mobs. So Pluto and Aquarius first coming through Aquarius. I mean, it did already pop in, a little last year, well, a little earlier this year, January, but now that it's there to stay, that 0 degrees, whatever sign Pluto, steps into, we open up. It brings things to light. It brings the darkness that was always there to light. I expect it to go more quickly. Then again, Pluto has stayed in other signs, like the sojourn between Pluto and Scorpio. I think that was like 14 or 15 years. Pluto stayed in signs longer in, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, and Libra had longer sojourns of Pluto. So there's longer time for souls to be born. The longer Pluto's in one sign, the more souls can come in that given amount of time. So if you just think about people on the planet now, we don't have any Pluto in Gemini, Pluto in Aries, Taurus, or, no, I don't know, do we have any Pluto and Geminis left? I don't know. Not many Cancers, us Leos are having, a lot of us are, well, Biden may make it that long. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Carter got to have his Pluto opposition. I don't know. We'll see. But that's rare to have, Some old astrology books, they don't even have, you can't even get those aspects because they say it would never happen in a person's lifetime. Well, got to revisit that one, huh? So, okay. Just, the downside to Aquarian energy, and with Pluto in power, the Aquarian energy of being kind of fanatical and eccentric and just erratic and all over the place and not have any passion for the truth, but instead just disseminating, your bigotry and your crankiness and we're all so clever and we're all so smart. And you know what? Remember, pride comes before the fall. And intellectual pride is a real thing in humans that we all have to fight. Even, other types of pride. Any type of pride is gonna backfire. So, but let's look at some exact aspects with this ingress here. So this one, the sesquisquadrate from Mars to Mercury that I talked about before, this will create detours. This will create disruptions to the past. Like I said, that aspect of the architect from the nodes coming off of Mars, that's still in effect, and it's strongly, this is the imprint of the next 20 years, the beginning of the next 20 years that we will be transforming, Pluto, transforming and evolving through. This is it, okay? So with the backdrop in mind that I've already spent, oh my God, an hour talking about, that's it. We have an emotional adjustment here. We want safety, security, but we are looking at the past. You got to trust your intuition. If it sometimes it's like if it smells like a whatever, it is, you can trust things like that. But this Mars, moving energy, this can be loving energy, but it can also be narcissistic energy. But then there's disruptions to plans. There are disruptions and detours to political plans. With the trine to Chiron, this is intense. We're all taught at first, the beginner astrology version is that sextiles and trines are harmonious energy. Nah, they're just connections that move really fast. So it doesn't have to be harmony. But there is the possibility for people to learn via their belief system that they matter. No matter who you are, if you're here on the planet, you matter. But the dark side with Chiron in, if you haven't healed yet and you're having to go through this painful period, it's going to be about the fear of not belonging and the fear of abandonment and feeling left out. And that really is the problem, right? But it's up for thinking about. Yeah, there was a thing trending on Google right after the election. How can I change my vote? And can I change my vote? Because they learned quickly. Suddenly, well, Nick Fuentes came out with his "I own your body." Oh, God. Okay. There's an adjustment here. Women of the past want a different future. Or women will be thinking about the past. Remember, Mercury's going retrograde too. But this is an exact inconjunct. Now, the inconjuncts make us feel not good. It's hard to stay centered. It's harder to things just nag us, And so what's going to be nagging us? The political information coming out, and it goes against what we're really feeling as the way things should be within and without. Via, I don't know, whatever I'm trying to say. But another part of this, another way to look at this is, do I trust the government or do I trust what I'm feeling and what's off? Something's off, right? What is it that's off? And with the sun at that, we just have one more degree to get through. We're going to be in Sag, and that's still that's going to open up a lot, but then we'll be a lot more vocal about it. Right now, a lot of people are still trying to figure out what happened. They're either coming from the camp of don't blow sunshine up my ass because you're giving me false hope and you should just shut up and all that crap, right? Or there's the other side of people are looking to see what really happened. We have to figure out what really happened. We can be sure that the NSA and the CIA and all the other alphabet agencies know about it. And now we're wondering, will the government, will something come out? Will they start doing something? Because we really have had an act of war coming from other countries into our election. Just because it wasn't a missile, it doesn't mean that it wasn't an act of war. So, if they can prove it, they better do something about it. And that's what we're waiting to figure out. This is what's nagging us. And we really do need to stay in our hearts. Make that when the naggingness is, just keep praying. Write to it's super easy to write to, you just go to the whitehouse.gov website. You can write to anybody there that you want to. And my experience with Biden and Kamala is that they respond right away. Not immediately, but, pretty soon. So that's a good thing there. The moon squaring Chiron, that just exacerbates what I was talking about before with this trine from Mercury. People are starting to think about, oh crap, well, maybe it's better to just die with everyone else or suffer with everyone else rather than to be alone. It's like, no, thanks, I'll be alone myself. Before I'm going to jump into, into that pit, like that kind of a thing. But, I'm the one with the Aries moon and an Aries ascendant. And Eris, I have Eris on my moon, but it's in the 12th house. So, I'm kind of the warrior for independence. So, but most people aren't. And, that's the thing. I should have said this in the very beginning, but the thing that matters most is that every soul gets as many lifetimes as it needs, well, as long as we have planet Earth, to incarnate here as many times as we need, over and over and over and over again, to purify our souls so that they are the same as the same pure spirit that we originally, incarnated with. That's why I don't believe the spirit and the soul are the same thing, but I believe that the soul can completely merge into the spiritual light that we are. But we have to work in each lifetime to bring more of our pure spirit into our soul and clear out the darkness, clear out the subterfuge, clear out the obfuscation of the lower self that wants to, have another agenda, or has another agenda, I should say. So yeah, this is the imprint for setting up the whole thing for the next 20 years. A lot of fast-moving energy to help us get back to our source and clear out delusion. The aspect of the architect that opens up the possibility to move forward from our heart and away from narcissism, if we can, not align with that. And the other sesquisquadrate over here, coming from Uranus to Venus, that has now made it into, just about into this, the second decan of the sign, which is, learning lessons. It's our frick around and find out phase. With Venus in Capricorn, it's unity consciousness, but we have to be careful of just being a prisoner of form and not allow the dictatorial, manipulating, power-hungry forces to get us. This is the opportunity to wake up. That's quite a detour if we can wake up. Wake up. Uranus is about waking up. So, okay. Covered the square. These two sesquisquadrates. Ceres squaring Eris. Whew. Two dwarf planets working together for women. Okay. At the later degree, in the third decan of the sign of Ceres, so remember, Ceres has to do with, I've said so many times what it's all about. I think the important thing is just to remember that we can flip the energy to learn best how to take care of ourselves and those that we love. And that's a decision point and a challenge here, as well as a challenge here. And then we can create strength. Squares turn into strength. I'm a testimony to that. My chart is a grand cross. I've got the four, squares and then a big X in the middle. It's like X marks the spot. This is what you came in to do. But you got to go through all the pain first. You have to go through all the squares first. So we are going to be going through a lot of feminine, like Joan of Arc, righteous anger and anger that moves energy and anger that says, no, you will not, and no, I will not. And it will strengthen us. It will fortify us if we can, get into that. But, we have to use that energy so that it doesn't work against you. If you're in denial of your anger, energy is nothing more than just life force. And we want to make sure that it goes in the right direction rather than holding it in internally and feeling hopeless and helpless or angry at others and spitting it out in the wrong way. So, you focus on the things that you love and the people that you love, the animals, and Ceres is all about food and farming. So maybe there's some victory gardens. Maybe there's a movement to empower women with all things that they want to contribute, however they want to contribute. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. whatever your craft is, whatever your art is, whatever your all of your projects. The main thing I can see here is like more power to you with all of that, with anything that you want to create, especially, I mean, the Mars and Leo, right? Okay, and then the other we have a semi-square here coming from Mars over to Jupiter. So semi-squares bring in indecision and friction, but also on-the-job training. There might be somebody who's willing to, I'm positive that there are, businesses that are willing to pay people to learn or be cross-trained. It's possible you could be on, you're in a job and they see you as a valuable employee and you like where you work, and they say, hey, would you like to learn this part over here? You just have to be careful, because sometimes it's always about pushing you up into management where you can get into a salaried position, but you're working 80 hours a week and you would have made more money if you stayed in the hourly position. But, if Trump's inaugurated and this, if something isn't done and Project 2025 goes through, then there will be a lot of people hating their jobs. There will be a lot of people feeling shut out and left out in the cold and having money problems and health problems. And the younger people will be feeling hopeless, and we really need to lift them up and help them and, get us through it. But the problem, or we get them through it. But the problem with, that whole Project 2025 is just the lack of options and forced choices. That's a real problem. Nobody wants to live like that. The harder thing is to turn things around quickly. The government moves extremely slow. It's Saturn. So, okay, let's move on to Wednesday. Wednesday, we have the moon connected with Mars. There's a lot of emotional energy here. I set this for, this exact opposition, and it comes through at 5:52 a.m., Wednesday the 20th. The moon joined up with Mars is a lot more emotional energy going into self-expression and what do we identify with? What do we feel confident about? Where can we express in a safe way, our courageous love? And we're intuiting, now the moon is also the public. It's the mood of the public. In Leo, there's going to be a whole lot of more self-expression, and this is all just coming off. Okay, so we're moving into Mercury retrograde storm, and this is coming off of the full moon that just happened, 2 days ago? So, yeah. So the issues we've gone through since the full moon has been gathering facts, getting information, shoring up our security, our defenses so that we feel safe, and now we're ready to fight. This is fighting energy. Mars fights. In Leo, Mars rules the military too. In Leo, there's a lot of heart activation, heart chakra activation. Mars motivates. Mars doesn't mind, fighting for something that it really wants. And Mars is all about independence. So there's defending independence. The little bit that I've listened to reputable news sources, I can see that they are, because, if anything's going on behind the scenes with the NSA and the CIA that might come out, they don't know that yet. Biden knows, Kamala knows, but they won't know that. But the deal is, all the generals and different people are stepping up saying they won't just do something because Trump tells them to. That is this energy right here, or this is explaining that. So, and we will be feeling that way too. This is a direct opposition to the people, so-called people in power. And then it could be breakthrough because the people over here have a whole lot of courage, and it initiates, right? Mars initiates. And this could be a plan of action to fight narcissism, fight tyranny. And you can still see the same aspect of the architect going on. Nothing's changed there because, Mars still has to go one more degree. Meanwhile, but the nodes are coming back, but it's going to be some time. So this is in effect. This is a holding pattern that's in effect. As well as, Ceres with the trine to Uranus. Now these, I have it set for the tight orb. So maybe I should go, I feel like just at least for today, let's go to the standard aspect. Yeah, look at that. Now we have that you can see the fire trine that's at least on Mars, but it's separating. There's almost a kite. But look at all this opposition here. That's a lot. Because Ceres is approaching. Pluto's going to sit there like this for some time. Ceres is going to catch up with Pluto, and this is going to be that. Now, Mars will be moving on, though, but you can see this is coming in. Mars initiating this open-heartedness that needs to protect and fight for what it loves. And then here we are up against, Ceres, which is women. And women who nurture the family, women, without women, we would never have been anywhere. Women that for decades raised families for free while the husband got to go out and make whatever, and then she feels less than, and a lot of them were even suicidal. And because, if that's all you do, well, you got to have a lot of community with other sisters, that's for sure. But if all you do is sit home and listen to your kids, then you realize you go out and you try to talk to a friend, and you're like, I can't. Oh, wait, it does. Yeah, it's like the first 5 years of child raising for me. I stayed home with them until they were in school, and then I ventured out. But the thought of staying in that for your entire life. Oh my God. No, it's not even good for the kids. It's not good for kids. It doesn't role model independence. And women are here to be independent, and men are here to protect and to learn how to not be emotionally dependent. And women are here to not be financially dependent on men, except for during those beautiful periods of conceiving and raising a family. But if that's all you do, or I don't know, some people have 10 kids and then that's all they can do. But then again, the wealthy ones just have nannies, and maybe that's a godsend because, I don't know, you never know the family setup, right? Okay. I'm going to let that one go. Let's see. We still, with the trine there. Wednesday, there's a lot. Wednesday is a day. It's a day. I can't say what's going to happen, but I can say something's going to happen, and I think it's going to be exposing the narcissism, the bigotry in big ways. I mean, we still have, with Uranus over here, that's in play. Let's go back to the tight orb, because this trine from Ceres to Uranus it's not even exact yet. Notice 24 degrees, 17 minutes, 25 degrees. Uranus is retrograding backwards, but it's still in the early, it's almost there to 24. This is going to come together soon, exactly, but it's already within the exact orb, which means it's the approaching energy is stronger than the separating, and we're at the fever pitch. We're coming in at the fever pitch, but it hasn't hit quite yet. Let's go to Thursday. Thursday, we have the sun coming in at 11:57 a.m. to Sag. Happy birthday, all my Sagittarian friends. I love this sign mostly because they're outspoken and they love freedom and they love to explore life and explore what life means and what do I have faith in. I love that part of Sagittarius, that explorative, adventuresome, that can, get you out of your rut. I just love that. So that's what we're moving into. We're now, for the first 9 days, we're in that decan of developing a foundation. So it's a foundation of truth that we're going towards. And Mercury is still holding space within that opposition to Jupiter to help us with that. So when Mercury goes retrograde next week, Monday, it'll start moving back towards the sun. The sun will start moving dead. It'll come together. I don't have an exact date on that yet. I had too much other dates I was looking at and information to gather as to what was going on politically. My goodness. So anyway, with the sun sextiling Pluto, there's an opportunity here to speak up for what you believe in and put that out there to people in positions of power. Like I said, right, Biden and Kamala, right, anybody that you think could support the cause. And if you guys have ideas about that, go ahead and put it in the comments. But I do have to say, if you put hot links onto any of my videos, it usually goes into a held section, and then I have to go fish it out and release it, and then I can't find it to even like it or comment on it. It's a big mess. So it's better if you don't put a hot link, but you can put, check out, blah, 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 and we'll get it. And if it's something verifiable and good, then I'll keep it. If it's not, I'll delete the comment, because there's been a lot of crap. No crap. I don't want any crap. Okay, you can see we still have the aspect of the architect, Mars to the nodes. Are we going backwards, or are we moving towards freedom? Is there going to be some type of a declaration of war on our country because of foreign interference in our election? That's the question. Yeah. Even Ceres, with the square to Eris, makes me wonder if that's what that's about. Because Eris is like, man, you don't get past her. And she's in Aries. She's all about independence. And she's not moving out of Aries until 2048. So there's that. The moon's on the other side of Mars, far enough that we're in the second decan, almost in the third, of learning lessons. There aren't any exact aspects this, at noontime when the sun moves into Sag, but, Sag is like, just think about going forward. We're going to be expressing ourselves based on what, the path that we are aspiring to be on, or we're already on our path, most likely, and we want to stay there. So we've got this searching going on. Mercury searching, the sun searching, the sun and Mercury coming together at some point soon over the next couple weeks. And here, it's all right here. It's all set up. Like, do we want the truth? Or do we want to just have dominion over other people and tell them, no, you have to be in this religious organization? And then there's the whole separation of church and state. Project 2025 wants to remove the separation. They want to rule. So all that information is what's coming out. That's what will be coming out over the next while we have the sojourn of the sun in Sag. And then Capricorn, when the sun moves into Capricorn, then we'll be trying to figure out what is our duty and our responsibility and how do we control the shit that's gone down. And are we shoring up our defenses? What are we doing? It's all about, do we have an inauguration, or is it postponed because something else is happening? Okay, let's go to Friday. Friday, November 22nd, the moon is still in Leo. It's at the third decan. We are really, really putting out A lot of love, a lot of creative self-expression. We are enlarging our community. We are bringing in more opportunity, but also getting into our, what do we want to create? What are our creative projects? And with the trine over to Eris, there's so much courage this day. Friday is a very courageous day, a very self-actualizing day. Now, with the moon squaring Uranus, there's the opportunity to, at least in the morning, I have this set for 6 a.m., but at least to 6 a.m. Pacific, the square brings in the challenge to make some decisions. Maybe there's a call for action. I would think that between, well, I don't know, Taurus kind of wants to sit still, but Leo wants to be moving, so that combination could actually be pretty good. Sit still, meditate in your heart. You always want to connect with your heart and then drop down into the rest of your body and bridge all of the chakras together when you're meditating. If we could do that, this is good. This could be really, really good. But then there's an adjustment that will be made because certain things won't feel right, and we're going to get more clearly in tune. The mood of the public will be more, there will be, I think, an emotional understanding that something isn't right and decisions need to be made and time is a wasting. Meanwhile, a lot of people are planning for Thanksgiving. There's all of that. Maybe they're deciding who gets to come over and who doesn't. And oh my goodness, I never mind anybody that made a mistake. Just saying, hey man, I made a mistake. I'm an idiot, or I'm sorry, or I never call anybody an idiot, but I'll say that about myself sometimes. An idiot, right? But I don't mind people making mistakes as long as they understand and they're not going to hold to it. The holding could be, that narcissistic, like my way or the highway. We could see some of that. If you see some of that, you wouldn't want to invite that person over for Thanksgiving because a battle will ensue. So there could be, for safety reasons, Taurus, safety reasons, awareness, Uranus, awareness, that could happen, and then decisions will be made accordingly because most of all you want safety and protection with Ceres in Capricorn. So, okay, let's go ahead and go to Saturday. We have the moon is working its way to an opposition with Saturn. You can see how the moon's at 7 degrees of Virgo. Now, the moon changing into the sign of Virgo will be a much different flavor. We will be more discerning. The whole Virgo-Pisces polarity can bring in discernment because you're more open to source energy and opening up to something bigger than what you know. Unless you work on the dark side of it and then you're just kind of like descending into chaos, which isn't real. Chaos is just energy that hasn't been put into divine order yet. But if you go into a place where you don't feel valued, then you can get into helplessness and hopelessness, and that's not a good place to be. I don't want anybody to go there. So if you're having any trouble, because we have a serious opposition coming through here that will be exact at 4:24 p.m. So in the morning, this is set for 6 a.m. All day, this is building. And, and if you're on the East Coast and you wake up in the morning, you'll already be in the energy, and it'll last all the way through into the evening. So it'll be more than late afternoon, it'll be into the evening. Now the deal is, here we have the opportunity to create divine order, and to work with Virgo energy on the light side is to make yourself useful. If you feel you're going into hopelessness and helplessness, and you're having a really hard time in believing in the forces of love and light that always win, love and truth always prevail. Sometimes it just takes a long time. But just understand that you are a bearer of light, and be useful with it. If you can't find a way to express yourself creatively in your love, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead, get your taxes in order. We're moving to the end of the year. There's so many things you could do. Start planning for Thanksgiving. If you're going to be alone, plan whatever pizza you're going to build for yourself, if that's what you want. Whatever it is that you want. It's helpful that we have Mars and Leo to stay in our creativity. And Saturn can be mastery. Saturn can help you master those anxious, anxiety-ridden, feelings that may be coming up. And then also to try and discern. Discernment is a Virgo quality. Try to discern if they're your feelings or are you just picking up everybody else's feelings. And if, either way, the way to work with that, no matter where it's coming from, is to get into your heart, get into your love. You don't have to. People can do it because it's ritual and they love it, and I totally love it too. I used to do it all the time. I don't anymore because I don't want the mess and I don't like the smoke. You can sage. I sometimes will spritz with like rosemary water because that helps to bring you back to who you are. I love the smell. Anything that you smell, anything that affects your olfactory gland will also help your pineal gland. Everything will be enhanced if you can get into that positive place and then into your heart and into your love, and then opening up to the love and emanating that. But you have to open up to it and just be with it first. That will put you in the pleasure place from which you hail, that 100% pleasure realm that you were born from. And that will push out all negativity, and it can happen in an instant, just like a flash of light, an instant. And then you don't need to feel all the other, So if you have to do that several times a day, it'll be a good exercise. And exercise is part of what the moon in Virgo is all about, too. Get out and go for a walk if the weather's okay. Walk around your house if it's not. Move around. Put on some music. Dance. Whatever you need to do to get yourself feeling better. And that pushes out, that sets up a healthy boundary for us empaths who absolutely need it. That's just the way it is. That's how it works. And saying no to negativity, turning off the negative news. You can only handle so much. Taking lots of breaks that way will be helpful. Spending time with your fur babies or other pets that you love. Maybe you have a beautiful tank of fish. So, okay. Because as the hours go by, let's do this. Let's get to about 4:30. I can at least get to 4 easily. There we are. You can see the opposition there. The trine from Uranus to Ceres is still staying, and same thing with Ceres, the square from Ceres to Eris. So nothing has changed. It's one of those days where there's just not a lot going on other than the moon's ingress into Virgo and the opposition to Saturn. Later on tonight, if we were to keep going, but you'd have to watch. I got to get you let's go to 11. That's good enough. You can see the moon has the sesquisquadrate to Pluto, but if you're up that late, there could be an adjustment in a decision made because some juicy piece of information comes in. 16 degrees of Virgo, we're in that second decan of learning lessons. So, when you get some facts, then you make adjustments. You make a detour could come through that can empower you, can be very empowering. If we go one more hour, it actually puts us into to Sunday, but let's see, is there anything else? I thought there was something else later in the evening. I thought there was I think, well, 16. Yeah, here. So the moon at 16 degrees, oh, it's gone past. Yeah, actually, hold on. Sorry. Right here. This is what I was seeing. The moon trine Venus. This is good. Both in earth signs. One has facts and the other one has duty to responsibility. That brings in unity, Venus, unity consciousness, especially for women. So that's good if you're up late. I mean, that would be, somewhere between 8:30 and this one's set for 9 p.m. Saturday night. Okay, Sunday, I have back at 6 a.m. The moon's only at 19 degrees of Virgo, but we are within, 29 minutes. Yeah, so about another half an hour, definitely 1 hour will be completely into the third decan, which is, that deepening of getting all the facts. And then we make the adjustment as to what do we do with it? Because Chiron in Aries is all about our independence and our existence. So there's adjustments because maybe by Sunday night we have some new information. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. With the semi-square going from the moon to Mars, this gives me the feeling of that we're still not fully decided. Sunday is kind of a kickback day too. It's really just a lot of aspects coming from the moon. So if I go forward, I think I'm seeing. Let's see. Let me go to midnight. Oh, midnight. What am I saying? Noon. There we go. Yeah. So now we have the square to Mercury. So again, in the last decan of Virgo, more facts, and now there's a decision point. Mercury ruling Virgo. There's more. I think there's probably a news drop and makes us start to go, Maybe news anchors are getting the whiff of what really went down. Well, they have been. I think a lot of them know. But they just have to be careful about what they say because, for us, readers, psychics, and astrologers, we are all entertainment channels here. And we're not bound by the same laws that news organizations. But in fact, that is exactly how Fox Entertainment Group has gotten away with so much. But they need to be held to stronger standards because, we all know why. So with the moon square Mercury about noontime, there's some challenge there. There's some major challenge. And I get the feeling that it has us kind of trying to hold the center of 2 points so that we can really figure out what's going on and then try and work with it so that we can master the information that's coming out full of facts. But, some of it's just a political expression and it might not be true, right? Might not pass our truthometer or our bullshit meter. So, yeah. So I think I'll close it up for now, but just moving into the next week, we can see that we're headed towards Libra territory, where we're going to be much more social and connecting the dots. This end of this week is all about gathering facts and useful information so that we can figure out what we're going to do in the future. So, okay. As always, I'm sending you so much love and support through the ethers. I don't know what else to say here, just to let you know that I deeply care and love you all. And I'll be back soon. Okay, bye.